everybody out there. This is a solo hardcore podcast preaching the subject about how California culture connects to the landmark venue, Chain Reaction, and how that had correlated into a new hardcore music scene in South Orange County. This specific venue located in Anaheim, California has basically been the pinnacle towards a very slim fan following of the hardcore screamo music scene around the nation. This topic reflects back to that California dreamin' scene that has been influential to the world. The movie scene, the make-believe and imagination part of California, but for this particular topic, the music scene and how that California influence created a new genre of music through the venue Chain Reaction. So this will be a fun one because Chain Reaction holds a very special place in my heart because I was among the few that had the opportunity to embrace the screamo scene, the music and shows that were put on at the Chain Reaction venue. So a quick history about Chain Reaction is it was established in 1996. It's located in Anaheim, California. It has been and remains one of the few smaller venues that produce an underground music scene in Orange County, but the biggest kicker is that it hosts shows for all ages which help the hardcore music scene explode. Connection 1. California culture has provided many extracurricular activities going on around Southern California involving sports teams, the beach scene, the surf scene, bars and clubs. All of those California dreamin' scene type of activities have had a strong influence to groups of people that like to associate with these activities. One of the biggest followings in California is definitely the music scene. You have Tower Records, Amoeba Music Shop, the Hollywood Bowl, Verizon Amphitheater, the Forum, House of Blues. All of these powerhouse music venues bring a big following to different genres of music. However, all of these venues and music shops are more mainstream with the mainstream following. Minus Amoeba, because I love Amoeba, so I don't want to be crucified for calling Amoeba mainstream because I've been to a pretty badass underground show there. However, with them, I will just say well known, okay? Moving on, the main point is that these venues have brought a mainstream following. Some places that only advertise big name music shows like, just to throw out some names like Katy Perry or Post Malone or Drake and, Metallica and other bands of that sort. So in South Orange County, there was only those bigger followings of shows available. It wasn't until Chain Reaction came into Anaheim that made the point of really pushing an underground scene. There was a movement of different subgenres of music being listened to that stem from bigger band genres like Metallica that produced a totally different music style. But where would you go to see this type of music live? Short answer, you didn't have a place to go. Until Chain started bringing in these unknown and very uncommon bands into a small venue, that the following became a damn chain reaction. No pun intended. And it was the birth of something big and something that I identified with. Connection 2. California's music scene is unique. There have been so many iconic bands that originated in California from genres like rap, hip-hop, metal, punk, alternative. My least favorite too, country and electronic. I'm sorry for those music followers, it just doesn't do it for me. Anyway, with that being said, there are some other iconic bands that were created through the emergence of Chain Reaction that most people don't know about and probably wouldn't even like, which makes me love those bands even more so. When I talk about Chain Reaction, I'm talking about a place that brought a different genre of music with a different style of people. It was truly diverse. So let's talk about the music. Hardcore music is a style that stems from a mix between metal and ska music. And when I say hardcore, I'm not talking about this type of music. I'm talking about this. Double bass pedal on the drums, add a rhythm guitar player focusing on that popular chugga chugga breakdown, and a dude who can scream but sings with a high-pitched feminine sounding voice, and boom, you have the hardcore music scene. Are you interested yet? Probably not. In South Orange County, the elite hardcore band that flourished in this scene was a local band from Laguna Beach called Bleeding Through. Man, these guys were my heroes, seriously. They were fast, thrashy, and they had that hardcore heavy breakdown and a badass screaming singer. More iconic hardcore bands came into the mix at Chain Reaction that were coming across the nation. Bands like Norma Jean, Madball, Census Fail, The Chariot, from places like Atlanta and New Jersey. And you have to remember, this music type was underground and uncommon. These dudes were coming from across the country to play at Chain Reaction, and it was a big deal. But they aren't Metallica with like a badass VIP room and unlimited food and beverage with groupies running around in bikinis or something like that. These were hardcore music dudes that came all the way just to scream and shred in a small dive bar like venue for an even smaller crowd, but with a huge sound and love for the music. Connection 3. I conducted research when I wrote an annotated bibliography for a class I had in the past, which resurfaced when this project was presented. Diana Bohr, who was the managing editor for the Journal of Personnel Psychology, she conducted an experiment taking a population sample from people all over the world and proved statistical data that correlates with music and people's cultural origins and how that has brought real life bonds between people and associated values of interests and identity. The article is called Music Makes the People Come Together, Social Functions of Music Listening for Young People Across Cultures. So if you want to check that out, it's a pretty rad article. So going back to Chain Reaction, when you think of California culture and associated music stereotypes, most of the genres can have a particular fashion style to the music that people identify with. That could be like clothing brands, hairstyles, even using makeup to add some style flair. For example, metalheads could identify being someone who likes to rock denim jackets or even leather jackets with metal studs all over the shoulders or patches of their favorite band stitched everywhere on the jacket. Or the punk scene could have some crazy hairstyles, including Liberty spikes and dyed hair of the whole color spectrum. But for the hardcore scene, it definitely produced a similar trend. However, this trend was new and, well, like most of them, interesting. I'm talking wearing your sister's jeans for the tight fit look back before the slim fit jeans thing was even a thing. Extra small size shirts and straightened hair that you also had to borrow a straightener from your sister to give yourself that straight hair longer than normal edge. And I mention this because, yes, I did all of the above. My parents thought I was psychotic, but I thought it was rad, so I didn't give a shit. Being different in my eyes was cool, and this, above all, was a different scene. What is cool about explaining the style is that it was something where you could identify with others by looking similar and wearing band t-shirts that only a small group of people really knew about. This whole scene was created by the idea of being different. You have dudes screaming, singing about some girl who broke their heart into a million pieces, giving it that emo side effect, to which produced something unique. When you would go to these shows at Chain Reaction and see someone sporting that same style, immediately you could think, whoa, this dude or girl is into the same bands that I'm into. Instantly making friends and memories by watching these bands in a place that was really there for people to identify themselves and decompress. Now with the developed scene, music genre, and style at Chain Reaction, there was a new type of dancing that came with the hardcore music phenomenon. To be honest, this was my least favorite of the hardcore scene, however, I felt it was appropriate to include because of how in depth in this topic we got. Growing up, I was a punk rock kid. I loved going to shows, especially ones that I didn't have a high probability of getting kicked out of for my age. Nonetheless, I love circle pits. Circle pits was right up my alley because I was a football guy that played a defensive position, so bashing around in a circle pit just kind of came naturally to me. But the hardcore music scene had something different in mind. The hardcore scene created their own dancing called, well, ironically, hardcore dancing. This was not your typical run around in a circle and shoulder check counterparts within the crowd, but in a circle, completely flailing your arms around while spinning around like a tornado, like you're having some sort of seizure. That was hardcore dancing, which was cool because it was its own thing. However, it was lame to me because I didn't like the idea of catching a fist in my face by a kid at Chain Reaction. But hey, that's art. So, after walking you through the history of Chain Reaction, you can go to sleep at night knowing that there are places out there that can accommodate any type of music scene, following, and passion like the one that Chain Reaction had and still has to offer. A place to go and hang with friends that run in a similar circle. California culture has a huge history of being different and uncommon, and I think that this story of Chain Reaction strongly supports that. I believe that this has historical importance because these different types of scenes that grew from other musical influences created something unique, and it's something that California has a lot to offer. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Go treat yourself to some hardcore music. I'm DJ Gallegos, and this is the Hardcore Music Podcast. Peace.